Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Gateway Gatherings with Dr. McGuire. In this episode, we have special guest Cheyenne, aka Visual Plug, who is a St. Louis-based videographer that takes artists' concepts and visions and brings them to life through stunning visuals. If you enjoy this episode and would like to stay up to date on more content, simply click the subscribe button. Thank you and enjoy.
So, welcome everybody. I am thrilled to bring you an in-depth conversation with who, in my opinion, is one of the most dynamic and visionary creators in the visual art space, and my friend Cheyenne, aka Visual Plug. From creating digital art pieces to transformative multimedia installations, Visual Plug has been pushing the boundaries of creativity and innovation. In this interview, I delve into the inspirations behind her groundbreaking work, the journey from concept to creation, and what it takes to stay ahead in the ever-evolving world of visual arts. In this interview, we're going to hear about her latest projects, gain valuable insights into the future of digital artistry, as well as her experience taking on the management of St. Louis artist Astro Kayz, aka Big. You can find him on Instagram at _BigStro. And how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Long day. So, Shai, can you tell me a little bit about your background and what inspired you to pursue this project in visual arts? Go for it.
So I am self-taught off of YouTube and friends, I'd say. So it's not like I went to school for what I do. But to say the least, I'm still good at it though. But what kind of inspired it was I had some friends who needed some work done. I was just kind of doing stuff on my phone a little bit, like taking pictures, and they thought I had a good eye. So they put a camera in my hands and I just went with it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, you know, from going to just a camera phone in your hands, now you've got a lot more equipment, you've got a whole studio. Like, tell us where you were when you started and where you're at today.
Well, I mean, I don't really have like a studio that I shoot at per se. I kind of really do more run and gun, or my clients will book their locations, and we do it like that. But to say that, like, it's all about your lighting and your setup and what you make of your environment and your space. So I guess the difference now is having that extra equipment, with the more lighting, more lenses to get a different perspective on what you're trying to shoot, more knowledge, you know what I mean? All of that makes a big difference from when you're first starting to like where I'm at now.
Absolutely. Now, let's go through your artistic journey, right? Why don't you tell me about some of your early projects and your artworks and how they have influenced the type of work that you're currently putting out there today?
So the early works, I watch them now and I'm like, oh, you were good for a beginner. But it just kind of makes me want to like push my boundaries, learn more, make sure I don't make the mistakes that I was making before. Before I didn't really have, like when I first started, I didn't have those mentors and things to reach out and be like, hey, what do you think of this? You know, I'm just looking at like, oh, this looks good because I don't know no better. But then when I reach out to my mentors, they start breaking it down in more of a technical aspect for me, and then helping me learn to like, okay, this is what I can do better because it looks good to me now, but it's going to look 10 times better if I take that more technical, knowledgeable approach to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And just kind of looking through a lot of your Instagram and a lot of the things that you've been putting out, it's really impressive for me, just how well you're able to balance things like colors with the lenses and motions and all of that, and just overall just synchronize that with the music that you're shooting for. I find that it's really impressive, and it shows a level of detail.
Thank you.
That a lot of people, I don't think, don't have that attention, that type of attention to detail.
Yeah, it does make sense like that you say that, because when I listen to a song, I kind of think like, do I want to use color lights or do I want to do natural lights? You know what I mean? If I am going to use color lights, what type of colors are going to bring the best feel out of this song? So I appreciate you noticing that.
Well, I notice it too, because I mean I get the pleasure of seeing you every week, and you know you're always color coordinated, always looking great. So it's always fun to see, you know, what color is Shy wearing today. Who or what are some of your major influences in the art world and how have they impacted your work?
Really just honestly my mentors, B Sharp and Quick Brain. Like those guys, their work is like flawless, you know what I mean? And then they're not scared just to help. So like I said, I could just reach out to them whenever, and I'm trying to be good at taking the constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will give a little pushback, like, but this is happening, this. He's like, you didn't ask me, you know what I mean?
What are some things you noticed?
You asked me what I thought. So
what are some things that you noticed? Like, tell me a story about how there was a lot of pushback, or they were putting in their input and you just weren't quite seeing it, and then you realized that they were in the end correct.
This video called Vices with Kate. Shout out Kate. She's cold. She's from my hometown, Springfield, Illinois. But we shot. It's still one of my favorite videos, honestly. But it was like, so the setup was she had two guys right here, and she was like rapping in the middle of them, but it was their backs were faced towards us. So the lighting looked good. It looked really good. But the one thing I was missing was a key light behind her to kind of light up, give us separation in the background. So that's kind of like, if you see my setup right now, you see I got a light behind me, kind of separating that background, trying to bring it all together. But that was, when I was showing him, I'm like, man, this is good. He's like, you need that light, but I see what you're saying. But then he watched it a couple times after that and was like, okay, no, this book is tight. So like, it was undeniable because it was so unorthodox.
I didn't even think about the light. I didn't even think about the light behind. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm looking at my setup now, and I'm lucky that I have the reflection off of the sign behind me. But you know, to provide some light. But yeah, that does create a lot of depth, and you know, within a very small space too. Wow, that's amazing. Let's kind of go through your creative process, right? Can you walk us through your creative process from the initial idea when you're meeting with the client to the finished piece?
Well, in the beginning, I just really want to make sure I get the client's vision, because like that's why I might ask a lot of questions, and I don't want them to think like I'm giving pushback or anything. I just want to make sure I'm able to bring the vision that they're looking for, you know? So that's the first step, is really just getting that discovery piece of what they want. Then the second piece is figuring out, okay, the location. If they have the location, then I would definitely check it out, see what areas are going to be best to shoot in. If they don't, then it's going to be just kind of run and gun. And then that kind of makes it, like I said, more unorthodox, but just depends on what route you're going with your shoot, you know? From there, we get the scenes. I will reshoot a scene 6 times if I need to reshoot it, you know, just to make sure we're getting it right. So that part of the process takes a little bit of patience on both ends. But it's just good for the client to understand you're paying me to give you what you want. So, you know what I mean, let's get it right. And then after the shooting, you bring it home, and then now you're like, okay, now I have to make all of this, what we just shot, like come to life and make it interesting. And, you know what I mean, still like put your creative spin on it by keeping the client's vision too. So that's really probably the hardest part, is when you sit down to edit the video, honestly.
Yeah, and I was just thinking how difficult it can be with, I think I was looking at one of your works that you did with Astro Kayz. You were outside, you know, and I could imagine, you know, there's so many different factors. There's the noise in a public space like a park. There's the different lighting. There's the shadows, how they're being cast on the trees. There's wind, and then, you know, to filter all of that to come up with a finished product is, I think a lot of folks don't realize just how difficult those even small things, or what they think are small things, can make such a big difference in the overall finished product.
No, really. No, that it does. Like, even working outside in general is kind of hard because you're working against the natural light. So if you're working and it's starting to get dark on you, those shots you're gonna have to consistently be in adjusting your settings to make sure everything stays looking good. But yeah, there's a lot of different factors, like with those run and gun shoots, like outside and things, like you're saying.
It's a lot more than just pointing a camera and clicking,
Oh, yeah.
Which leads me to the next question. What tools, what techniques are you frequently using in your work, and how do they help you achieve your artistic vision?
So I do have my cameras with me. This is like my big cinematography camera that I use. It's a Canon C100, and then I use manual Nikon lenses. So that means there's no autofocus on this. Everything I'm doing, like, I'm seeing is like, if it's blurry, it's because I want it to be blurry. If it's in focus, it's because I want it to be in focus, And then for this one is my Lumix G7. It's a mirrorless camera. It's a little bit lighter. So for this one, I use a stabilizer. I think it's kind of like a Zhiyun crane or something like that. It's the knockoff one. But it does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
So that's some of the equipment that I do use, and then like my lighting, of course, that I have. Some of the things I do want to get are a drone for sure.
A drone. Oh wow.
I want to get a drone.
Yeah.
And then
I've got a friend that does some drone videos. He's got some incredible work too.
And I like to go hiking, so I feel like that'd be pretty dope to bring it on a hike with me.
Yeah, absolutely. As you were, going on to the creative process, or piggybacking on that, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in your work, and how are you able to overcome them?
Gotcha. Probably the biggest challenge, or the most like crazy thing that happened to me, is like I had invited my client over to watch the video before I exported it. And literally we watched it one time, and then all of the footage on my timeline went red.
Oh, shit.
To this day, I never figured out like how to fix it, what happened. But it was the craziest thing. I tried to send my hard drive off to get it fixed, and then they was trying to charge me like $1,500. I'm like, we're gonna have to take that L on this one. But that was probably like the biggest like thing that happened, that like just like kind of messed me up. Like I almost wanted to quit doing the stuff like after that had happened, because I was like devastated. I'm like, dang. And I put a lot. That was probably going to be one of my best projects ever too.
Oh no! How did you manage to fix it? Did you have to just do it all over again?
I told him, I told him I'd reshoot, but he was upset, so we never reshot. I'll still reshoot it for him today. Yes, the homie, but you know what I mean? Yeah, I can understand. Like, he was like, man, I was in the vibe, and it was so good. And I'm like, yeah. I know, but like, I didn't delete it on purpose. I don't know what happened. Yeah. But yeah, stuff like that in the creative world does happen. But you just have to be, a good business person and let them know, like, hey, I'll redo the work. But at the end of the day, I did put like over 20 hours of editing in on this video. I did come shoot for at least 2 hours with you. So I can't just, give you your money back. I will reshoot for you. But yeah, that's how it goes.
You did the work. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I come across that too, right? There are some folks that don't always get the results that they want. There's things that happen, and sometimes they don't follow recommendations, or there's injuries, and but the work was still done. So
yeah,
being upfront with that is always a good thing. Let's talk about what you got going on these days. So let's share with me some details, whatever you're willing to share. If you don't want to give away too much, that's totally fine. But can you share with the folks watching some of the details about some of your most recent projects, and what themes and messages are you trying to convey?
Well, as far as recent projects, I've really just been doing a lot of work with my artist, Astro Kayz. So we have 2 videos that we should be dropping like within the next month or 2. We're just trying to figure out a good rollout plan for them. And then I've also been kind of just doing work with my friends at Toxic Icon Podcast, and we did that haunted house, halfway to horror. So that should be being released soon. It's always like a little mini movie when I do those. And then the Atlanta recap. So just kind of, you know, working for my clients right now. I don't have any really passion projects going on at the moment. But I am starting to think of one. I might team up with Zeus Rebel Waters and figure something out. But that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's wonderful. What can we expect from you in the near future? What, you know, I know you mentioned you don't have any exciting projects, and I know you do wonderful work with music videos and those sorts of things. What are some things that you would like to advance into and evolve into as your career expands?
I'm trying to get something on TV, low key. That's what I'm hoping for. So that's my goal right now. But I definitely wanted to like involve people to like have a purpose. You know, I mean, I don't want to just put no bullshit on TV. So I want to be able to like, I don't know. I don't want to speak too much on it because I've already talked with my partner and things. But yeah, the ultimate goal is to put something on TV for everybody to see.
Got it. Yeah.
I'm kind of in my network.
You wanna have a message. You wanna have a message, and you wanna get that out to the world. I totally get it. You know, now what do you say, and how do you stay current with a lot of the trends and innovations in the art world? I know it's a very difficult because it's always ever evolving with the influx of this new AI technology. I can imagine it's kind of hard. It can be very difficult to stay interesting, to stay relevant. So how do you manage that?
Really, honestly, I've been using a little bit of AI in like my cover designs and graphic designs. So I am starting to learn a little bit of that aspect of technology a little bit. So just being willing to continue to learn. You can't just stick with the same techniques and everything that you learned from day one to stay relevant. You know what I mean? So you just gotta stay learning, stay tapped in, and see what you can do with it. Because AI can't, you know, AI doesn't technically have a brain. Like if you really play with AI, you get some crazy stuff. It's really kind of hard to get good stuff because it's all about the prompt, and the individual still has to give the prompt for AI to produce what you're wanting. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just use it in hand.
Yeah. One thing I hope to see, and I do definitely see it in your work right now, is the authenticity of it. Like, yes, we use AI, yes, we use these things, but we still know that it's you. There's still that authentic, there's still that human, there's still visual plug, and your personality and your spirit, which is a wonderful spirit, by the way. I've had the pleasure of knowing Shy for, you know, we're going on 3 years now, and I get to see her every week, and it's wonderful. But you get to see her spirit in all of her work and everything that she does, so it's great. Let's see. I hope we have some aspiring artists. If not listening right now, hopefully they'll listen to the recording of this. But what advice would you give to an aspiring artist who is just starting out their journey?
Don't be scared, man. Believe in yourself, because if you are second guessing yourself, you can see it, you know, so you gotta be confident. It's just like when I'm shooting a music video and like you doing this the whole time. You see my eyes, like that messes me up so bad when I'm editing, because I'm like, the take may be so good, but then your eyes are like this. So I can't use that footage. But when you have that confidence, you know what I mean, you're not breaking that contact with the camera. You popping your stuff, like that makes everything easier for you. You know what I mean? Because if you believe in yourself, people are going to believe in you.
Yeah. That's, you know, as you're talking about music videos, I'm thinking, you know, there's quite a bit of choreography and all that stuff. Are you there also, like, telling your artists what to do, and you know, their backup dancer or whatever? Are you telling them what to do and how to move when you're doing these shoots?
I am very active in my direction. So if I need you a certain angle or way, I'm going to be vocal about it. I'm going to talk to you while I'm shooting. Like, give me more of this, give me more energy. Give me less energy, give me eye contact now, no words, give me words. Like, I'm going to definitely be very active in my direction to get what I want. But as far as like, if it's a planned, like more of a structured shoot, like, and you have dancers and all of that stuff, that's more of their thing. Like, their choreographer should be there to, you know what I mean, get them together. And then I'll work around to get my shots around what they have going on. But my main thing is like for the artists that they're self directing y'all, because sometimes when y'all have a crowd of 30 people, I cannot direct your homies. Like, y'all gotta get y'all people together. You know, I'm gonna tell you what I need and get your people together. Because I don't want to come off as that, you know what I mean, that B word to all your homies, because I'm trying to direct some stuff and nobody's listening to me. But it's like, you have that sometimes. So
Yeah.
That's when you just have to learn how to go with the flow, you know? But
yeah, I can imagine, right? You know, having confidence in your shoot and taking control of it, not only gets, you know, the entire crowd and everyone on the same page, but it also, you know, establishes some confidence, you know, that your artist, your client is confident that you're going to do the work because you have control of the entire situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, wow, wonderful. Cheyenne, I don't have any other questions. I think this was wonderful, but before we get going, like, do you have any final thoughts or messages that you'd like to share with the viewers here today?
Well, I definitely appreciate you being here to interview me, Dr. McGuire. He's been my chiropractor for like 3 years, so that's how we know each other. People are like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
But it's an interview with my chiropractor. He's doing Gateway Gatherings is his new podcast. So I'm just honored to be a guest on it today, and yeah, I really thank you a lot for that.
Yeah, I thank you for. I mean, just to know you has been wonderful. All right, last question. I just want to thank you so much for joining us here today, Cheyenne, aka Visual Plug. It has been a pleasure. Where can our viewers follow you and see more of your work?
Well, they can follow me at Visual Plug, VZUAL Plug. Really anywhere, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You're gonna find me by typing that in. It's pretty specific. So, yeah, I definitely appreciate all the support.
And if you're any artists here listening or watching the recording here, VZUAL Plug, reach out to her. She does incredible work. She's got a wonderful spirit, and I've had the pleasure not only meeting her, I've met Besties, and I've met Big Stro, all absolutely wonderful people, and I always make sure I schedule them adjacent to my break so I can spend a little extra time chit-chatting with them. Anything else, Shy?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, that was an episode of Gateway Gatherings. I just want to say thank you all for joining us today. If you are a small business, if you serve people in the St. Louis community, hit me up go to my website, Facebook, whatever, hit me up somehow and I will get you an episode. But I want to take this opportunity to have something local to the St. Louis community that they can reach out and give a spotlight to small business owners and out there, entrepreneurs and people out there serving others and doing stuff for the St. Louis community, no matter what it is. You sure you got nothing else, Shy?
I'm good.
All right, folks. So thank you so much for joining us. Visual Plug, thank you. It's been a pleasure. And I'll see you next week, okay?
See you next week, Dr.
All right, you take it easy. Bye.
Bye.